Ooh, there we go. I couldn't get the headphone untangled. Oh, what's going on, guys? It is I, Cooper88, also known as Steve, and welcome back to... Oh, there we go. It's been a while since I played this game. Actually, let me run back here, because I don't think I got every quest to be able to open up. Get out of here. Oh, wait. Let these guys get slaughtered real quick. There we go. As I was saying, yeah, it's been a while since I've played Path of Exile. Mainly because I played the game so much I got burnt out on it, and I kept trying, and also doing RPGs like this are very time consuming. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun, come back to this game, and I wanted to at least try and get all the rest of my Witch and Templar characters. Figured I'd get the other two Templar and Witch characters because I'm trying to get every single class skill unlocked, but the problem is it's very time consuming. I mean, I pretty much got the Scion characters, which is the Ascendant. I've got that done. I've got the Occultist for the Witch tree. I'm currently working on the Necromancer here. And then after that I'll have the Elementalist. And then I have the Guardian for the Templars, and then I'm going to go on to Inquisitor and Hierophant after that. So it's just,
I greet you.
It's one thing after another.
Hello.
Oh, okay, I do got the quest. I wasn't sure if I did or not. But anyway. So what's going on, guys? What is happening in y'all's world today? I am just kind of chilling. Just kind of chilling, enjoying my day off, and you know, generally trying to stay positive. It's been chaotic. I don't really want to get into specifics, but let's just say a lot of stupid things have been happening. You know, at my job and at work, and a lot of things that are kind of starting to come to my attention that are not good, but that nothing is going to be done about it. Like, it's one of those things that, unfortunately, it's all kind of above me. Which is sad, because, you know, you really hate situations like that. There we go. I'm slowly getting into it's the bike riding mentality. I'm slowly getting back into it. And it's also really hard coming back to this game after I've gotten so used to like being all powerful. Like that's going to be the thing for me, though, is I'm going to have all these character classes. I want to try to have all these character classes for diversity, but I also know realistically that I'm going to have to start picking specific ones. I mean, it's not bad. Like I said, I'm coming back into this with the mindset that, you know, everything is going to be fine. Nothing bad has happened yet. I think it just kind of bothers me a little bit. Because, like, I'm used to crap. Ooh, I almost died there. There we go. I keep forgetting. See, I've already forgotten pretty much like how this game's mechanics operate. Okay, that's a better one. So we're going to equip to that, and we're going to move. Actually, that can be moved over here, and we're going to move this to here. And there we go. That will make that better. Because, see, I haven't played this game in so long that it's kind of hard to remember, like, how certain things work. And I have to kind of retrain my brain to understand how certain key mechanics work again. So it's a very interesting process because, you know, oh. Wait, have I not been attacking this? I've not been attacking this entire time. That just dawned on me. I have literally been letting my zombies and everybody attack. That's actually kind of funny but sad that I forgot about that. But as I was saying, guys, yeah, you know, it's a little depressing. I try not to let it be though, but it can be a little depressing. You know, just because you know, like it can be a little depressing, you know, mainly in the fact that I have. Wait, have I already completed this quest? Oh, I've already completed this quest. I basically went through, I didn't even realize that I had already done this quest. Wait a minute, what? I don't remember being out that long. Oh, I'm on the other side of the field, never mind. Never mind. But that's actually the only annoying part of this game that I do know and remember is just the incessant... And don't get me wrong, I know that the game is meant to be long, it's meant to have a lot of long hours, but my god. There are times where you'll sit there and you'll play and you'll lose like an entire day, maybe two, just trying to do one thing. But it's like, I like the game because I like games that have very big customization windows like this. You know, stuff that kind of allows you to, I guess you could say, power build. And actually playing through most, if not the majority of the game is actually pretty easy. It's just It's just the harder parts are more the ones like, what am I trying to say here? The harder parts of the game are essentially the, why am I blanking out on it? The labyrinth, there we go. I couldn't think of it for a second. The hardest part for me is the labyrinth, and it's definitely a lot harder, especially as you're boosting your ascension. But to me, it's like once you get your ascension, you know, like that's really going to be the only hard part with every single character. And I think it's going to be doubly tough for the characters that are very melee based, like the duelist or the marauder, because I'm so used to doing summoner builds in RPGs, like I'm that guy. Like I love doing summoner builds, I love doing mage-esque kind of classes. So it's very interesting, you know, like doing the marauder or dueling the duelist, you know, like characters that are very melee focused. It's very difficult because I keep having to remind myself that it's not the same skill sets. You know, it's also the sense of familiarity as well. I think that also plays a role in it as well. Because see, like right now, I'm fine. I could probably jump 2 or 3 levels and I'll still be fine. Like, it does not bother me. You see, it's the idea. But you know, it very much is true with certain RPGs. When you're used to a certain class or job skill set, it does become very, very focused. There we go. I was trying to think of the wording for it. You become very focused in how you do certain things. How we doing? Okay, we're doing pretty good. It's just trying to remember, like, everything that I have and everything that I have done.
I haven't slept. No one. It has been a little over a week since the Black Storm.
I'm gonna tell you, man, there's a lot of classes in this game that are good for a lot of different reasons. the Witch and the Templar being two of those. And certainly the Shadow. I'm not going to discount the Shadow, but the Shadow to me is just, it's one of those classes that you can see the potential for a summoner build, but it's not as thick, it's not as heavy. And a lot of that definitely does go hand in hand with the fact that every single one of those that I've just named are classes that deal in magic.
Fairyland learns to heed my demands.
I always love when Einar helps you out because, like, I mean, granted, it isn't until you start gathering beasts, but it's still nice to have Einar with you because he does take out a lot of enemies, and it is increasingly helpful.
Little beast! Away! Captured, stupid beast.
this day, the second Socrato of the Russi.
Worry, little beast. We are friends now. Hunt, exile. Now it is time for Einar to go to Einar business.
I'd say it's about time. Okay, so what are we looking at? Okay, so one more and I can complete this. Yeah, that's essentially the long way around. I'll have to think about that one. Whereas over to here... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 more levels and I'll do that route. Whoa, what did I just do? Oh, did I just undo that? Whoop. There we go. Okay, deal 15% more damage. 8% attack screed. Specters, raise. Ah, there we go. One more raised zombie and one more skeleton, and then have one more here, and I'll have all this. And then I think what I'll do, and it seems like a bad gamble, but I'm gonna go for it, is I'm going to allocate points to this, not just because it has chaos resistance, but this will expand their lives. And it gives me 2 more zombies and 1 more skeleton, which, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but if I'm going for a necromancer character, you want to have as big a horde as you possibly can. And having 2 more zombies, in retrospect, that's quintessentially right next to that and the skeletons. You'll have a pretty large number of bestial characters.
Ready, exile? It is time to hunt! Off you go, little beast! Oh, this one is captured. I now will take it.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it, guys, but trust me, there's a lot of power in having a very large necromantic group. And especially if you're going to do the labyrinth, especially if you're doing the labyrinth with the witch or Templar characters, you want to have a big board. You really do. Plus, with that Death Atoned, and you add in the fact that you get phantasms on summon for kills, I mean, you're practically going to annihilate your enemy. Like, you're just gonna swarm and overwhelm them.
capture.
Fear gnaws at the entrails of the...
I mean, there was really no point in doing that, but I just felt like doing it. Just because it...
Hunt, exile. Now it is time for Einar to go to Einar business.
I don't know why, but I always like that. Just that, and now it's time for Einar to go to Einar business. What do you mean by you have to go to Einar business? And how bad is it? Power site. I'll probably play for a little bit longer. I didn't plan on just, like, playing the entire day. Like, this isn't going to be, like, one of those, like, all-day stream things. I just thought, you know, I need to take a break from, you know, watching so much wrestling. Because I've been getting back into watching a lot of wrestling as of late. I've been binge watching a lot of wrestling lately. It's actually helped improve my mood. I mean, don't get me wrong, video games have helped me a lot. Like, I don't want it to seem like, oh, video games just don't bring me joy anymore. No, they still bring me plenty of joy. It's just, because of my work schedule, because of everything that's going on, like, drama-wise in my life, I'm just kind of, I don't want it to seem like I'm hanging by a thin thread, because I'm not. I kind of don't see the point in, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't see the point in getting worked up over things that I know that I shouldn't. There we go. I was trying to find the right way to word that. You know, like, and plus, anywhere that you go in life, there's always going to be drama. In one capacity or the other, it's just how you deal with it. And lately, I've been frustrated, but I've not been, like, so frustrated that, like, oh no, everything's out of control. No, it's just, you know, a lot of people piss me off. But, you know, I'm also looking at my situation from the perspective of it could be a hell of a lot worse too. But it's so very hard in the world that we live in today to not be pessimistic, because it's bad. Kind of shitty. I mean, people don't care for each other. People just would sell their own family up the river just you know, just to make a quick buck, and I don't agree with that. I'm not saying I have a perfect relationship with my mother, but I would never do half of the stuff that I have seen a lot of people in my age group do to their families. And I'm not talking about families that have been bad or, you know, are shitty people and deserve it. No, I'm talking about people that they've gone out of their way to help their kids, and their kids just are ungrateful. Or you got parents that they should know better, and, you know, they're teaching their kids to basically, you know, game a system that they shouldn't. You know, I'm not going to get into that because it does tie into work, but there are some things that I'm noticing with some people that they know they shouldn't be doing. And they don't care. In fact, if anything, they laugh in the face of me and other people that know that they are doing these said shitty things. And that pisses me off more. It's one thing if you're ignorant and you don't know, but it's another thing when you willingly know and you still choose to be ignorant. You know, that's when you're taking it a little bit too far. I don't know. It's whatever, guys. We're here to have fun. But it aggravates me. Because I'm kind of starting to see the world for how it truly is now. At least in a very small dose, but it's still no less annoying or irritating. I also find it kind of funny, you know, the media wants to blame violent video games for everything. If anybody's been following that trend, it's hilarious. Oh yeah, violent video games cause people to rage out. No. People's personal ambitions and greed is what has led our society to the point that it's at now. I find stuff funny. You know, at least stuff like that, because it's always the simplest of solutions. But really it's not. It really isn't. It's like, well, oh, you play all these violent video games on your channel, Steve. Yeah, I know they're games, though. You know, playing... Because, see, when I play Call of Duty Modern Haircut, I know that it's just simply a military game. I know that it's not real. It will never be real. That the things that I do in that game are not going to ever be done in real life, and that is the difference. Now, if you, as a human being, are bipolar, or you know, tend to dissociate from reality a lot, then maybe it's not so much the games as it is you. And everybody's going to say, well, oh, you're blaming, you know, for some... Yes, I advocate mental health, but I also advocate the right kind of mental health. You know, people actually going and getting the help that they need. You know, actually seeking help, actually going and getting help. You know, getting on the proper medications, etc., or so forth. Or if need be, go to therapy. You know, things that are meant to be helpful. You know, that don't hinder people. And I find that kind of a funny thing with our society when it comes to the mental health discussion, is that everybody sees the red flags, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't. And I think part of the problem is mental health as a whole has become so stigmatized that if I talk about it, all of a sudden everybody's like, no, we can't talk about these things. The way I look at it, and y'all are going to laugh at the comparison, because I know it's not a good comparison. But I always equivalate talking about mental health the same way you do when you talk to your kids when they hit puberty about sex, or sex ed in schools. It's uncomfortable, nobody wants to do it, but it's got to be done. You know, that's my mentality about it. You have to bring the discussion forward. And if you don't bring the discussion forward, then who is? Now, case in point, I would never own a gun. Make no mistake, if it's a nightmarish scenario where I have to defend my family, and if given the choice, yes, I would fire a gun, but I would also properly educate myself. I would learn to respect the fact, I would learn to respect, the rules that come with that. I don't think it's so much gun control. Everybody always wants to talk about that. Well, gun control. No, it's personal responsibility. That's the problem with our society today. People don't want to take personal responsibility. And as much as it irritated me, I will agree with a conversation that I had with my mother, a very bluntly raw one, but one that needed, in retrospect, to be talked about, and I told her that, you know, it was a necessary conversation. That we need to start really looking at the fact that at any moment, any time, something could happen. Aurora, Colorado, for example. That could have been prevented. The guy had a history of mental problems. But nobody wanted to talk about it.
Stupid beast.
Nobody wanted to talk about it. Anybody want to guess why? Because it would have stigmatized the mentally ill. You know, I've always said the biggest crock of shit is when people try and talk about or stigmatize things that they know damn well are not what they say it is.
We will be best friends, Beast, until we slaughter you.
That's not morbid at all. You know, like it... I don't stigmatize people that have issues, but I'm just saying if the red flags are there, why are we not having more emphasis on that? And the reason for that is because it's going to cost the lawmakers money. That's all it really is. That's all anything is in any part of the globe, not just in the U.S. Lawmakers don't care about basic people needs. I always equivalent lawmakers, politicians, prime ministers, etc., as being like your parents, or being a lot like shitty parents. They don't really give a shit and will do stuff just to appease you. And then when you finally leave them alone, that's when they're going to do whatever they want. It's bad. It's really bad. You know what, I'm not going to do the Chamber of Sins quite yet. Let's finish up the stuff with Einar, and I want to get the stuff with Einar done, but I also want to take out these gang leaders. So we're going to do all that first. Before anything, mind you.
The moon was full the night of the Black Storm. It is full.
But yeah, like I told you guys, I don't like I don't like politics. I don't like talking about politics, mainly because I have a very unpopular opinion about a lot of things politically. But at the same time, I very much am passionate about social issues like this, like issues that involve mental health, that involve the stigma of people like me.
Gone now since it all began.
People, you know, that live on the autism spectrum, people that live with bipolar and other disorders. Like these are people that are very, you know, people that are very ostracized for dealing with the things that they deal with. And, you know, it really kind of angers me because there's almost a disenfranchisement for people like that. And there really shouldn't be. And that's part of the reason I get as angry as I do. Because we as a whole, we as a global community don't like to talk about mental health, because in doing so, we are essentially opening people up to being bullied more. And I look at that and I'm like, you know, some people are just so full of shit that it's ridiculous.
An exhilarating hunt, Exile. Now, it is time for Einar to go to Einar business.
You know, it's almost kind of sad in a weird way to know that most of these guys are not going to make it. Like, that is going to be the more interesting part, is how much of my patience is going to hold up after I get the Templars and the Witches done. I mean, I'm not a very patient guy by nature, so the biggest test for me, not just in doing the occultist, but in doing the Scion, and then doing the Templar, doing the Guardian, because all three of those took a lot of hours to try and put together, and I imagine it's gonna be quite as long. And I mean, there may be some subquests that I'll do, and there may be a lot of power leveling that I'll have to do. Because I do remember that I had to do a lot of power leveling. Like, make no mistake, I am well aware that I am going to be doing a lot of power leveling throughout this game. I mean, thank God the game itself is free, and I'm not saying that it's bad that it's free, but for a free game and a free, fantasy game, I will give it its due. It is amazing. Like, the amount of depth that they have put into this.
Your trouble. I like that. Now what I don't like, Oaken and Lyra and their thieving mongrels. They keep taking what's mine.
disappointing, really. I usually like rats.
Okay, so there's one. Yeah, because I'm really curious especially with the Marauder and the Duelist, how this is going to play out. And certainly to a certain extent the Shadow. But with the Shadow, I don't need to really worry, because I kind of know what I'm getting into with that particular character. Okay, so let's go to the Chamber of Sins. Also, I know for those that are like master POE players, I'm sure that it's annoying seeing me have the mini-map displayed. But I'd much rather have that because it's a good focal point for me to be able to see where I'm going. And plus that mini-map's kind of annoying to me. So just as personal preference, I keep the map up. So if anybody doesn't like that, you know, sorry, but it's just how I choose to play. Everybody's got their own personal preference for how they want to play this game. Hopefully it doesn't take any enjoyment out of it for most of you. This game really is like satisfying. Like, even though it is very much a grind for a lot of things, I enjoy playing it mainly because it's very soothing. And not because, you know, it's violent or because of this or that, but I like it because, you know, it's very user-friendly. And there's not a lot of games that are really user-friendly anymore. And the game does challenge you to think with your configurations, but it doesn't punish you if you do certain characters wrong. It just more or less makes you... And everybody says, well, you have to play within classes. Well, you also got to look at the characters you use as well. So obviously if you're doing a witch, you can't really complain.
Inquisitor. If you attempt to transmogrify a virtue gem without the proper mental preparation.
You know, so obviously if you're going to play this game and, you know, be like, well, I want to do a marauder that, you know, does magic and summon zombies and stuff, well, you know, be prepared to spend extra points to allocate doing that. Like, that's the thing about this game that I think most people that haven't played it or attempted to play through it don't understand, is that you literally are not bogged down by a class specific. But it's just, it takes more points and more thought into how you want to do things. But you're not really bogged down. It's not like it locks you out of anything. You just have to strategically look at, okay, this is what I've got, this is what I want to do, is it possible? And if not, find variations. Like, I guarantee you, the Marauder and the Duelist, I will probably end up making totem builds out of them, because totems are the closest things I'm ever going to have to summons. Same thing with the Shadows. The Shadows, you know, because they have intelligence as one of their subclasses, I plan on doing minor summoner builds with them. Like, this is just how my brain registers it. It's just, it's the idea of how do you want to build your character. Like any good RPG, it's like, how do I want to build my character? What should my character look like? Like, I know that I'm making this sound more technical than it is, but I'm emphasizing the point that when you play games like this that have very wide open, but at the same time mild customization options, you have to really think very strategic. You know, you can't just take a witch and say, well, I want to make her, you know, a powerhouse melee character. It doesn't work like that. Certain classes are built in certain games like that for a reason. You know, like, there's nothing wrong with playing games in a certain style, but you have to also look at the fact that most of these classes have certain certain subtext, there we go, and, you know, certain limitations for a reason. And I don't say this to drone on, to drone on or make myself sound like a smarty. No, I'm just saying, as a guy who plays a lot of RPGs, whether it be JRPGs, turn-based RPGs, real-time RPGs, just RPGs in general. You know, I've always looked at video game RPGs as, like, to me, an alternative to playing D&D. Like, this game, to me, even though I've never played an actual session of D&D, it feels very D&D-esque. Like, it feels like I am rolling my character into a certain subcategory. But anyway, I never finished my thought, and I know most of y'all that don't care, you can just mute the volume if you want. You know, it's all a matter of my opinion. Now, I'm not saying I'm right. But as I was saying, I find it funny that video games are the first things that are to blame for everything. And it kind of upsets and angers me, because I feel like I said, you know, we want to sweep holding people with mental health issues not accountable because they don't know what they're doing. And I'm sorry to say, as somebody who is autistic, suffers from clinical depression, etc., I feel like there should not be a stigma, but I also feel like there should be some personal accountability. Like, people should really be holding themselves to a standard, and everybody's like, well, you know, not everybody has friends and not everybody has done the stuff that you've done. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that people need to understand the differences between right and wrong. And And it doesn't take, you know, the way your parents raised you to know what's right and what's wrong. Morally, our society knows what's right or wrong. Everybody knows what's right or wrong. There's no question about that in my mind. No question. But people don't want to do that, and I'll tell you why. Because for people to admit that they are wrong, that scares them. That scares people. There we go. Use Summon Holy Relic just because it'll strengthen the life aspect of all of my characters, of all of my minion characters. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Summon Holy Relic, but I like it just because it's a great tool to have in a pinch.
The path to justice is slender and...
Ooh. There we go. Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah, that's just where my opinion is, guys. I'm not saying that people aren't suffering, and I'm not saying that, you know, we shouldn't have tighter restrictions for people to be able to get weapons, but I think it should be done with a modicum of respect. And certainly I feel the red flag law should not be something. I think the red flag law should come with tape. Like that's, because this new red flag law is becoming, I think, a very dangerous prospect. It's almost like swatting in real life, except for gun owners. Because certainly I would think if somebody is a responsible gun owner, they've never used it to bully or intimidate anybody, they've only ever used it to protect themselves and their family, or, it's a contingency for break-ins, etc. You guys get the idea of where I'm going with this. That stuff is where I think the red flag law is dangerous. But I also think that we definitely do need to have a talk, about, people that, like a lot of troops that have severe PTSD, I'm sorry, they need to go through multiple background checks, and, certainly I don't think they should be allowed to own a gun, but that's just my own personal opinion. And I don't say it because I don't think that they don't deserve to have the right to carry, but I think PTSD, like a lot of mental health issues. Ooh.
Failure stings, sister. Yet pain is the finest of all teachers.
Hang on, let me go rescue Helena, and then I'll finish my thought.
It slaughtered everyone! Help me!
There we go. There we are. Anyway, as I was saying, I just feel like they are going to, I feel like because of where they are,
I bequeath this transmutation device to you.
I feel like because of the fact that, that they have the PTSD, I feel like it's going to more than likely end up, because if anybody's never known about PTSD, people do have bipolar-esque mood swings and this and that. And that's not to say that I don't think that anybody with PTSD shouldn't be allowed to own a gun or own a weapon, but I'm just saying they should be monitored and watched. Mainly because, you don't want to run the risk of them hurting themselves or their families. I mean, you want a great example. I mean, even though it was CTE, a somewhat minor example is look at the Chris Benoit family murders. It's just, it's a whole big mess, and it's very hard to really open up and talk about. And certainly for me, it's harder to talk about because I'm a very free-spirited person. I don't necessarily try to offend people. I don't try to come across as purposely ignorant, but I also believe what I believe. And I believe that certainly, like anything else in life, there should be registration, but I also believe that there should not be red tape for people to be allowed to be able to responsibly be trained and respect, you know, the fact of owning a firearm. There was a time where I didn't feel comfortable with anybody, even friends, owning firearms, but I think the world that we live in now, and, you know, a lot of different things have kind of shaped my worldview on that, and I feel like I used to believe that anybody that owned a gun was a coward, but now, you know, I see, you know, I see that it's not the purpose of it, but it's the person and the intent behind it. Like, how do I word this? Like, I very much essentially now kind of understand that the world we live in now does not allow for that kind of, you know, behavior anymore. It just doesn't. You know, like, flat out, it really doesn't. We live in a world now where, you know, people,
The Oriathan girl, she...
I don't know. We live in a world where it's not like it was before. And that's almost the scary part. That really, really is. It's the scariest part. It is. It's a great Oh. Ah, that's Herald of Ash, Herald of Thunder. I'm more likely to go with Cold Snap, honestly. But that's all that I'm saying, guys. All I'm saying is that, you know, we, after all this stuff going on in the news and the stuff in El Paso, etc., it's like we do need to start having a seriously larger discussion. And certainly one that should be taken a little more seriously. You know, but I mean, who's to say? And who am I to really, you know, emphasize a key point that should not really be emphasized in the first place? But I also just know. Like, I really do. Like, I know in my hardest of hearts that these are things that should not be. And it doesn't make me a bad person, and it shouldn't. But I view things a lot differently now, as an older man, than I did when I was younger. The world has just become a very scary place. Just, the world's not like it was before. You know, that goes without saying. But it's also very sad and depressing that, you know, this is the world that we choose to live in now. You know, we choose to live in a world where these kinds of things could very much happen. And why they happen, I couldn't honestly tell you. But they do. I don't know. It's a whole can of worms, guys. In retrospect, probably should not open. You know what I mean? But it's just, you know, these are things that I kind of just noticed that I can't help but think about. You know, it's the crazy times that we live in. I never thought that I would honestly stand here, legitimately, and say that the world has become a scary place to where even I would not want to live in it. But it is. It's a hell of a time. I don't know. It's depressing. That's the bottom line there. It's depressing. It's a depressing time to be alive. You know, we don't have times, you know, the times aren't like they used to be. You know, back when we were kids, you know, it's a whole different breed of animal now. We have a society that really does not care. There's no effort for accountability. And if there was, then it's pretty much gone now. Like, I don't know, it's so confusing to me. Like, it's so very, very confusing as to why this has become a thing for people. I mean, it's almost, I would dare say, unrecognizable as far as how to do things.
Piety led us into that wretched place in the hopes of...
You are dream tender.
It's just the crazy world that we live in.
I greet you.
Okay, so Herald of Purity. 1, 2. I'll have to think about that with the Herald of Purity, but at the very least, I could maybe use that. Something to think about. So let me go ahead, because I'm trying to be strategic about this. There we go. It's 2 passive respect points. Oh, I need to... Nope, I don't want it there. I want it here. There we go. Now let's sell off the rest of these.
Greetings.
I have story for you. A good story, but...
I don't care, dude.
Is yours. Yes?
There we go. But, yeah, that's just... I don't know, I've had a lot of stuff on my mind, and most of it is of that variety. You know, it's just, like I said, it's, like I've said multiple times, it's just, this is the crazy world that we live in now. I never thought that I would see it like that. I don't know, it's always something, guys, but I look at it this way. What we do in the here and now counts for more, genuinely counts for more than what we're going to see. But I think I will... you know what? I'll do the riverways, and I'll do maybe one more section, maybe deal with a couple of more bandits, and then maybe I'll stop right... Then maybe I'll stop for the day. You know, but I do want to let you, but I do want to let you guys know that whatever my beliefs are, they aren't going to affect really what I, you know, what I do and how I do things, because I've always said I try to conduct myself with professionalism and with, you know, the utmost respect towards other people. You know, I was very much raised on the belief that, you know, you don't have to agree, that you can agree to disagree, and that as long as your philosophies do not purposely harm or hurt other people, then I have no problem with you. You know, that's just the gold standard from which I live my life. You know, we all are going to have different views on things. We are all going to not agree on the same things. But it's only when our ideologies actually physically hurt or dangerously... It's only when our ideologies dangerously hurt others or put them in harm's way that I don't want to associate with you. You know, I don't have time and I don't respect people that do that. And guys like, you know, the El Paso shooter, for example, had no compassion. And really should have been detained long before that. But see, people don't want to do that. And another thing that I think is a very dangerous rhetoric is the race card stuff. I feel like I see it more and more, especially with certain people I'm friends with on Facebook. You know, talking some very militant stuff. And I kind of look at that and I'm like, you know, that's very dangerous rhetoric, you know, to be spouting. And like I said, it's not that I hold that against people, because I don't. Believe what you want to believe. I'm not going to tell you how you should live your life or what you should believe, but I'm just saying, be very careful and be very tactful in how you do it. I don't discuss politics for this very reason, and why I kind of, at least up until this particular video, why I've never shared it on the channel, because, you know, everybody's going to think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or that I'm too much of a pacifist, but it's just, I have seen far too much violence in my life at a very, very young age, and have known it too much to where I'm not desensitized to it, but I'm a little more like, do we really need to do this or talk about this, and etc. or so forth. And I don't feel it's a necessary conversation. But I think as I'm getting older, I'm understanding we got to have these conversations, and if it makes us uncomfortable, then that's progress. But you know, we've got to bring these things to the table, and we've got to start really looking at and examining, you know, how certain mindsets in our society are really starting to, I guess you could say, kind of tank a lot of the moral integrity that a lot of people once had. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's fine to have a controversial opinion. It's fine to have an unpopular opinion. The only difference is when you start believing it's fact and you close your mind to the possibility of looking at it from a different perspective. And I think that's the gift and the curse of social media and a lot of these platforms, is people think that there is moral ambiguity in the things that they are allowed to say and do that they would never say outside of their little safety net and bubble. And that kind of makes me mad, because, you know, the way I conduct myself on here is the same way that I would conduct myself in real life. Now, granted, there are some things that, okay, maybe I'll feel a little more comfortable saying, but I still try to hold myself to a higher standard, and I still try to say say what I mean and mean what I say. There we go. I couldn't get it out there for a second. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And I think a lot of people need to take that into account. When you say what you mean and mean what you say, you know, people genuinely respect you a little bit more because they know that you're not gonna BS them. And that's the conversation that we need to be having. But see, people don't want to have that conversation because it makes them uncomfortable. Well, you know, I'm sorry, but you have to be uncomfortable. You just have to. Because it's not gonna go away anytime soon. You know, we've not even just, I would say in the US more than any other part of the globe, we have more red flag warnings that get ignored. So all I'm really saying, respectfully and tactfully, is we need to start having wider discussions about mental health. We need to start doing more advocacy programs. We need to start really branching out and attempting to try to do more good than harm, so that way people that want help can get help without feeling stigmatized. Because that's part of the problem right there, is everything is now a stigma. Like everything. You have depression? Oh, well then you're more likely to do this or that. And I look at that and it disgusts me. Because I've seen friends and I've seen family members and I've seen friends of other friends or family members, etc., or so forth, that they could have got the help they needed, but they were scared to do so. Why? Because they had people treat them like they were an inconvenience. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is wrong. That is very wrong on so many levels. And it's highly unfair because those people were never given a chance to get the help that they needed because they were so scared they were going to be looked at as freaks. That's why I get angry like I do when I bring up mental health, because it's essentially become a big thing in society, especially American society. We don't care about those that need them. Because, I mean, consequences be damned for them. Right? It saddens me. It angers me, but it saddens me at the same time, because I think back to a lot of things with myself included, you know, my own mental health stuff, and I asked the question of, why wasn't this here when I needed it? Why couldn't I get this when it could have really benefited me and could have helped me? And the answer is simple. Because if it had been around, I wouldn't have had to suffer. You know, it's such a funny mindset, isn't it? To know that everything that you have been through may not have happened if it was different. You know, this is the oxymoron of it. I don't know. it's stuff that I think about a lot.
So an enemy of hope has fallen. Creighton will not be missed. Did you do it for a higher purpose, perhaps? Something worthy? Like peace?
This land has no time for avaricious little despots like you, Oak.
And there goes Oak. I've had a lot of things on my mind lately, and definitely the biggest is just trying to figure out and make sense of why some of these things never get talked about. Because it certainly doesn't benefit anybody to keep a lot of that stuff held in. But I also see the fair point that, you know, we need to start... I never liked using my platform for these kinds of things, but I also am starting to understand that maybe it's better I do, because we need to start really having a serious discussion about why people can't come forward or are scared to come forward because of retaliation. And I'm done with that. And I've also made my peace with the fact that I'm never gonna become a famous YouTuber or Twitch player or Mixer player, whatever. That I'm gonna be working a boring 9-to-5 job till, you know, I essentially expire. You know, like, I'm learning to be more of a realist. Would I like those things? Yes. Do I feel like maybe I would be ready for the responsibility? Probably not. And that's another reason why. Because maybe it's just, maybe it's just better. You know, me not taking off the way that I have. And not being consistent. You know, these things realistically were probably meant to be from the start. And I'm actually kind of okay with that, because, you know, it doesn't bother me like it should. And rightfully so. Because why should I fear things that I know are not what they should be, why they aren't what they seem? You know what I mean? Like, these... I'm not saying these things to be delusional, and I'm not saying these things, you know, because I've finally cracked. I'm saying I'm finally starting to kind of see certain ambitions that I once had, you know, kind of fall to the wayside and be like, you know, maybe this has happened, you know, because maybe this was meant to happen, you know, maybe this is just this way, you know, because of this. Like, I haven't cracked, I've started to look at things honestly in a much more mature mindset, is what it really boils down to. I look at things more maturely. Doesn't mean it frustrates me, doesn't mean it irritates me, but I've learned that it's the way that it is for a certain set of reasons. And that it's, you know, probably better. I don't know. I am going to finish the Weaver. I'm going to finish the Weaver quest. I'm going to do the last bandit leader. And then maybe once I get back, and then I'm just going to go back to town and I'll stop right there for the night. for the night. In my mind, it already feels like night. Oh crap, maybe I am losing it a little bit. Maybe I am losing it a little bit. Oh. Well, that fight didn't last long. Not that it needed to, anyway. And besides, actually, I can do a lot of power leveling in the labyrinth, as I've discovered. So even if I don't necessarily get to So even if I don't get everything right away, at least going through the labyrinth, I'll be powering up and getting like bigger upgrades. It's all about being positive in the fact that I am, going to do this. I am going to get these remaining characters to where they need to be.
Arteri, my beautiful captain. I wish...
So let's go ahead, kill the last of the bandits, and then we will. I'm almost kind of saddened by the fact that
we, the Court of Reckoning,
I'm almost kind of saddened by the fact that these guys literally refuse to give up. I mean, granted, I know that they won't, but it's just, it strikes me as funny. What the? hell was that? I have no idea what that was, but okay then. Yeah. I think I just encountered an elite or special enemy. I feel a certain sense of sadness at this. Mainly because I know my foes are actually trying.
The King of Rats, Creighton, dead. And that big ugly oak chopped down. You've made quite the impact around here. But I can't say I'm surprised. You've a powerful aura.
You missed a valuable lesson, sister. Never let the power go to your head.
There's a certain sadness to this. But that's all that's all I'm kind of really sorry, guys, is I'm not expecting everybody in the world to sing Kumbaya together. You know, I'm not so naive to the world that I know that everybody is not gonna ever agree with one another, but I'm just saying the world itself is too dark a place. You know, we need to start. Those of us that are actually, you know, halfway decent or considerate people need to start slowly but very cautiously, you know, like waiting out to try to help people and do a little bit of good in the world. You know, there's far too much evil and far too much suffering is all I'm saying.
Found a way to bring down Chevron's barricade. Still alive, are we?
What the? I never even got to choose anything. I never even got to choose anything. This game basically just chose for me. That's... That's actually kind
Still
of messed
alive,
up.
are we?
Oh well, I know what he rewards anyway, so it's not like it matters that
A
much.
stranger? There.
Hello. Hello.
Like that's all I'm really saying, guys.
That spear.
Piety would have concurred with Eramir's theory about that northwestern.
There's greatness in you. You say the Lords of Light. I'm so sorry, my friend. Are you well? Yes, you are apparently intact. Remarkable, considering for the barest moment there you were something altogether different. I'm not afraid to admit it. A rather unnerving version.
Okay, grave intentions. Ooh, whoa. Okay, do I go down this? Do I go down this path? Or I'm thinking here, because it's like, I could go this path, but then it's going to require a lot more to get down to here. But what I could do, because it seems like it's a little simpler, Okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this, guys. Bingo. Yeah, that could go. Oh, this actually will work out better. Okay, I'm going this way. Okay. I'm gonna go this way because I can add another one over here going to the Scion's tree. And if I can get maybe some strength there, I might be able to get the Herald of Purity and use that. And then boom boom, and then go do all this minion skill tree stuff right here. Yeah, go do all this minion stuff right over here. And then just do. Huh. Oh yeah, that'll work. That might actually work. Yeah, because then that'll lead to all this. Okay. I have a game plan. I like it. And then I just gotta go over here and through the woods. Okay.
Greetings.
Okay. I think I got it, guys. Yeah, because I got a Guardian here, an Ascendant, and an Occultist. So I've got the Elementalist. So I'm currently going to work on my Necromancer. Get her all situated. So Necromancer, Elementalist, Hierophant, and an Inquisitor. And I may do some testing, but I've got the Trickster, Assassin, and the Saboteur. And depending on like how all this goes, I may have a couple more characters to add. But I think I actually played a little more than I expected to play with this. But that's okay. Okay, so we shall stop this right here. I'm gonna go take my leave, maybe eat maybe find something to snack on, because it's a little too late for me to really try and eat lunch now. But guys, take care. I hope you had a good one. You know, I'm sorry that it got so real, and you know, because like I said, I don't like talking about stuff like this on the channel, but I feel with all these recent events that have been popping up and all that stuff that I wanted to, as diligently as I could, as diligently and respectfully, just give my thoughts on them, open up about them. If you guys didn't like what I have to say, you know, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion as much as I am. You know, etc. so forth, you know, agree to disagree, as I've always said on this channel, you know, agree to disagree. You know, as, you know, I respect your views as long as you respect mine, and unless my views or yours purposely hurt people, which I try to avoid doing, and I would hope that other people would try to avoid doing so. You know, it'll all be good. But anyway, guys, take care. Have a good one. I will see y'all later. And I will let you guys know, like, maybe like what's going on the next month or two. Hopefully, fall will finally be here. And if it is, we're gonna have some fun. I know for October, guys, I'm gonna be doing my Halloween live streaming stuff again, or doing like the entire month playing horror games. And I got a couple of different good ones, guys. I may play some Until Dawn if you guys want to play Until Dawn. I had another indie horror game called Claire that I may play through. Depending on what Halloween sales they have, you know, we might see some Layers of Fear. We might see Amnesia. It's going to be up in the air in October what we really do. And I'll try to be consistent if my schedule allows it. If it doesn't, you know, we'll try to get some stuff done. I certainly want to play Perception as well. Perception, I think, is another one that would be really good for the channel for a Halloween stream. But I've mainly just been chilling. I've been playing games. I've been playing Final Fantasy. I've been watching a lot of wrestling. And I've been mainly trying to get back into a very positive or stable mindset. You know, because if you guys hadn't seen me stream throughout the summer, heard me talk about it, it's been a very rough summer. It's been a very ugly summer. A lot of things also going on. You know, stuff with me trying to help my mother. Stuff with trying to prep for the potential move coming next year. You know, this and that and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm trying to keep my wits about me, trying to stay calm and rational and sane and, you know, other things, because the end of this year, guys, is getting extremely crazy and it's going by fast. But I'll talk about that, you know, in the next video or the next thing that I do. So guys, take care, have a good one. You know, be safe, be kind to each other, etc. You know, all that good stuff. And I will see you all in the next one.